Ooh, I know where you went. Literally. Isn't it great, Sunglasses Man's friend? You took a bus to Toronto, walked into a mosque, and shat on the carpet. They celebrated the attack by Saipov, so I took a big steaming dookie on kebab. T-Sig, you're a fucking legend! Wait, what? T-Sig? Yeah, I just came up with it. Token South Indian guy. I like T-Sig. Alright then. Now let's get to the video. We are way overdue. In the wake of recent events, it gave Evan plenty of time to sit back and do some thinking. And when he did, he came to the realization of an interesting yet powerful play of dynamics that's been going on since the election. Something that's had a profound effect on the ongoing culture war, socio-political climate, politics proper, and our nation's image in the eyes of the world. It's something that's been debated before and has been a vexing issue when it concerns all this new age cultural Marxist PC bullshit. And it perfectly envelops the issue of immigration and the fallacy of open borders pushed by America's resident normal fags. And yours truly shall give you an enlightening analysis of such a thing. Since the onset of the culture war in America, concurrent with the election and ongoing still, the Alt-Right has become synonymous with the grassroots base of our now president. The Alt-Right was not only an open revolt against the progressive agenda of the nation's political and cultural leftist elite and their base, but also the GOP's rhino class, who might as well be called Democrats for all they've been about for so very long now. As broad a term as the Alt-Right was, and is, it is at its very core a populist movement, an emphasis on the cares and troubles of the common man. And given the former's blatant disregard for the people throughout the Bush and Obama eras, it's no wonder this kind of thing happened. But as powerful a brand as the Alt-Right is, it is still an umbrella term and constitutes a wide range of ideologies, although diverse, but still sharing a common theme of populism. And that's still only a partial factor in the dynamic I'm about to go into. The play of civic nationalism against ethnic nationalism, and how the alt-right comes to play. For those of you unfamiliar with these terms, civic nationalism is the concept of a nation defined by equal and shared political rights and allegiance to political procedures, where more emphasis is on equality and less that of race, ethnicity, or tradition. Ethnic nationalism is the concept of a nation defined by ethno-cultural homogeneity, a common language, and a common religion. As polarizing as these concepts are, they both have deep roots in American society. It is so because the United States of America is the combination of both. The Revolutionary War was sparked by colonists from a culturally and ethnically homogeneous nation who believed in the right to rule themselves with a fair and balanced democracy. Throughout history, civic and ethnic nationalism has had a stable relationship with turbulent intervals in the nation, but today they've become so polarized, yet they're rooted so deeply in American society. And the alt-right, from what we've observed from the past 2 years, plays to both ideologies. In the Obama era, leftist policies have heavily disfavored the working class, outsourcing jobs to East Asia and putting the grassroots into an unemployment hike. And on top of that, Obama had been vehement in his aim for amnesty for illegal aliens from Mexico and Central America. And when Michael Brown, the black thug of Ferguson, Missouri, was shot dead by Officer Darren Wilson for resisting arrest and trying to take his gun, that was the catalyst for Black Lives Matter and the emphasis of diversity and inclusivity on college campuses. And Obama had done nothing but support these people, further disenfranchising the grassroots. Understandably, this upset the majority of white Americans who make up most of the working class. And Donald Trump's message of populism, emphasis on jobs for workers, and immigration restriction appealed to them greatly. And his brand of conservatism was a welcome one because it did not fit the narrative of the GOP or the rhinos. And his inauguration following his electoral win emboldened the white man of America to take a stand. White nationalism and pride surged, and that brand of ethnic nationalism in the United States began to choke the liberal beast. Now, on the other side of the ring, you have the Democrats and their liberal plantation. The us versus them narrative they've been using to keep blacks and Mexicans on a leash has worked wonders for them. They put emphasis on civic nationalism, but the hypocrisy in that is that in major cities where Democrats are mayors, every minority neighborhood is a crime-infested shithole that has spread to the rest of the city. But while that's a factor, there are blacks and Mexicans who don't follow the leftist bullshit and believe in the kind of civic nationalism that respects the common people of the nation, true equal rights including freedom of speech and working with the president to make things better. The Alt-Right is obviously rooted in white ethnic nationalism, but it also encompasses those minorities who follow the conservative civic nationalism and not the twisted narrative of the left. But here's the clincher. The minorities who follow the conservative civic nationalism are decried, booed, and shunned by the ones on the plantation. They get to be called race traitors, coons, and Uncle Toms. And it's so because they side with the grassroots, which is majority white. To have pride in a country founded by white colonists escaping religious persecution in Western Europe. And speaking of religion, Christianity to be exact, whether you're a Christian or a secularist, it's quite difficult to deny its heavy influence in both civic and ethnic nationalism in the United States, which had begun in the 17th century, and also in Europe, which had begun in the 5th century when Christianization of the continent hit critical mass. The core tenets of the Law of Moses, the Ten Commandments, and then the Gospels of the New Testament of Matthew, John, Luke, and so on is an ever-enduring testimony of God's promise to the small nation of Israel and the promise of salvation which was given to not just Jews, but to people of every tribe, tongue, and nationality. To start, I'll give an example. In each of the 3 synoptic Gospels of the New Testament, it states that at a particular sermon, questioners were trying to trap Jesus into taking a stand on whether they should pay taxes to the occupying Roman government, who at the time were occupying Israel as a Roman province. The questioners anticipated that he would oppose the tax so they could turn him over to his eventual executioner, the Roman governor Pontius Pilate, who also was the Roman tax collector of the province. In the book of Mark, the catalyst, the question was asked that should we pay or shouldn't we? Jesus then asked them to present him a Roman coin suitable for the tax. And they brought it. And he saith unto them, Whose is this image and superscription? And they said unto him, Caesar's. And Jesus answering said unto them, Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. And they marveled at him. To put it simply, on the one hand, God had always had his hand over Israel, as was his promise and covenant, and in the long list of prophecies throughout the Old Testament, it brought forth Jesus, whom fulfilled 353 prophecies with his death on the cross and his resurrection. The ancient Jews of Israel had a strong ethno-national identity because of the God of Israel, and Jesus, who was and is and always will be God in flesh, was telling his followers to pay the tax to the governing Romans, and taxes have always been a staple of civic nationalism. Following Jesus' ascension in circa 30 AD, Christianity began its rapid spread throughout the Israeli Levant and into Greece, Rome, Syria, Egypt, India, Macedonia, and Ethiopia. And in later centuries, as Christianity struggled in the Middle East at the onset of the first Islamic conquests, it flourished in Western Europe and into Eastern Europe. The tenets of such bonds of nationalism, civic and ethnic, influenced by the Holy Bible, are what made the European nation so strong, rich, and powerful, even though today Western Europe is a Marxist, secular cesspool of beta males, SJWs, and migrant rape gangs. But keeping on track, it was that concept of ethnic nationalism, in perfect unison with civic nationalism, that made the United States what it is today, and what allowed the Founding Fathers to write the Constitution. They, in fact, had a prayer session before they concluded on drafting it. I had once said that conservatism was breathed and modeled after Judeo-Christian values, not the conservatism light of the rhinos. The Alt-Right, while not inherently religious, does echo the kind of conservatism that is Judeo-Christian in nature. And like I said, it has holdings both in civic and ethnic nationalism. The white Americans of the Alt-Right, as well as the non-whites of the Alt-Right, are merely adhering to a natural ideology that has always been American in nature, fighting against a Marxist, progressive New Age civic nationalism built on the godlessness of the Democratic Party and the political elites, left or right wing. Don't get me wrong here. This isn't a go to church or burn in hell theme we're going for. I'm just speaking the truth, whether you like it or not. A truth built upon the truth. I make no apology, and Evan doesn't either.